out of this program, we'll have some scalable programs that we can help to really change the way we think about the way we do arts education in the state. And so with that, I'm very pleased to welcome a few people here who will briefly present their thoughts and their support for this bill. Monique Mitchell, who's from the Get Lit Words Ignite, which is an organization that uses poetry to increase literacy and empower youth and inspire communities. Michael Winger, who's the executive director of the San Francisco chapter of the Recording Academy, and Camilo Landau, who's a 2016 Grammy nominee, Board of Governors, Recording Academy for the Southeast chapter. And so we're very pleased to have some very talented people here to speak in support of the bill.
Hello. When I was in 9th grade, I attended high school in the Crenshaw district, and I flunked nearly all of my classes and was sent to summer school. But by 11th grade, I was on honor roll and performing around my local community because I was introduced to a poetry program. Poetry in arts education helped introduce me to the human experience and the idea that we are all the same. We have each experienced some variation of joy, sadness, pain, and fear. I was introduced to Countee Cullen, a poet during the Harlem Renaissance, and his work surrounding poverty reminded me of Tupac in my own experience. Henry David Thoreau taught me that resilience was necessary to move through any adversity in life. So poetry really helped me to tap into my authentic voice, which empowered me to be an agent for social change in my local and global community. I would like to dedicate this poem to the students that I now teach and to Maya Angelou, whose birthday is today. Hard to find peace when calamity colors the block. Hard to draw peace when bodies outlined in chalk. My hood was full of dead ends. Seen cemeteries full of dead friends who used to be roses. Dreamt of rising up from Inglewood, strangled by a thorny system. Did we ever stand a chance? I remember standing on the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson, close to withering away, uprooted by unruly classrooms. Overcrowding found me lost in a face of seas. Gambled my future on mediocre averages, the odds against me. Funding funneled through pockets that never reached us. How could they teach us on secondhand salaries? We saw instructors get replaced with the seasons. Doomed to a perpetual fall, we fell behind. Miseducation, a slow decline. And they promised no child would be left behind, but what about Lorenzo? What about Derek? What about me? My mind was a hungry wolf amongst sheep, the way she sought food she wasn't getting. How many futures have starved in these halls? I would have been swallowed by fall if poetry didn't spring me to life. I was always running like Luis Rodriguez until it provided me a place to rest, a place to rise. I modeled myself after the classics, saw Dunbar transform into a scholar from a slave, so I retired my mask and chains. Heard Walt Whitman's barbaric yawp and declared, I too am not a bit tame. Poetry gave my untranslatable thoughts a lane. Mama Maya told me why the caged bird sings, so I knew sharing my story would help me get free. I've seen roses rise from the concrete like Pac, so when I see my students struggling, I can't let them stop. It's been nearly a decade since I graduated high school, and I hear the same story like the records on a loop. When will we demand that enough is enough? When will our students' educations and futures be unchained from their cuffs? Sing, caged birds, reform, resist, rise up, roses, we will persist, planting poems in the cracks of concrete meant to break our backs. Let's prove education is the sharpest form of attack. Thank you.
That is a very hard act to follow. We do have a Grammy for spoken word, by the way. My name is Michael Winger. I'm the executive director of the Recording Academy's San Francisco chapter. We are one of 2 chapters that operate in the California region. Our organization is best known for the Grammy Awards. We put on our award show once a year, which recognizes where music professionals, which is a little known fact, that the Grammy Award is actually awarded by peers of music professionals, songwriters, performers, producers, engineers, composers. All of these are the people who vote on the Grammy Awards that you get to watch on TV. To that end, our organization also supports music and the arts as an ecosystem and as an indelible part of our culture. And that's actually in our mission statement. And one of the most important things about music and arts education is that it is beyond us just something that is fun for kids to do. It is the foundation of who we are as a people and as a society and as citizens. So beyond the issue of, oh, it'll be neat if I learn how to play piano or if my son is going to be able to pick up a glockenspiel and play quarter notes in time, what's more important is that when you learn music or when you learn the arts, you learn how to think. You learn how to collaborate. You learn how to work together. You learn how to listen, and you learn how to play. And you learn how to do so many things that not only spark joy in yourself and in others, but it also radiates out into your communities, and it radiates out into your cities and into your state and into your nation and the world. And music doesn't just stop at the end of your street, and it doesn't stop when it gets into a school. It lives in your hearts, and it lasts a long time. So what we can do as a state, which is probably one of the best known states for producing great art. And in fact, I would say we are the greatest state in the greatest nation that produces great artwork. That for our students to only have 38% enrolled in arts programs and arts education is a gigantic miss. And it is a gigantic missed opportunity that you all and this body has an opportunity to fix and to make better. And it's really incumbent upon all of us, citizens, leaders, those in our community, to serve our kids this type of work that they can then use to bring to whatever profession they choose. Because the skills that come with creating and learning about art are creativity. And they're ways of solving things that we need people to be able to harness that type of thinking that goes beyond just turning someone into a professional musician or a professional filmmaker or a professional painter. Now, in addition to that, there are jobs that are directly affected by this, and our organization serves those professionals. And those are people who are not just Rihanna or Aerosmith or E40. Those are people who are working behind the scenes in studios. They're students straight out of school who are working $15 an hour. I'm going to be recording in a recording session. I still produce albums now. I have a $15 an hour student who's going to be an intern on the session, and he'll stay up with me until 12:30 tonight. And these are jobs that lead to future careers, and they lead to other careers. So I just urge you to consider this passage, and thank you all for your consideration, and thank you, Senator Allen, for bringing this bill.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Camilo Lando. I'm a 2016 Grammy nominee, and part of the credit goes to arts education in California. I went to the School of the Arts in San Francisco. I'm the fortunate recipient of a great arts education here in California, and it's so important not just for those like me who can go on to a professional career in the arts, but it helps in so many other things. I'm sure you've seen noted in the bill, collaboration, creativity, and so many of the skills, the life skills that students today need. And of course, arts education is not just about arts education, but it helps with all the other academic aspects of education. There's a ton of studies that you can see, some of them cited in this bill, that show that students who do art and who do music do better at math, do better at science, et cetera, et cetera. And the one great thing about this bill, too, is that it has how it addresses the underprivileged communities. I was able to teach a class recently at Eastmont High School in Oakland, which is a very underprivileged community school, public high school. And they do have a music program there with one music teacher for the whole school. And they have there a band room with instruments, band instruments, trumpets, trombones, saxophones, clarinets, etc. But none of those instruments all remained completely unused on the shelf because the middle schools that feed that high school don't have any music education programs whatsoever, no music programs. So it's really, when I see that, I just am heartbroken that the opportunity, these kids don't have that opportunity. And you'll see that students who do study music are I think it was 5 times more likely to graduate from high school. Their engagement is completely transformed, and it gives them really a reason to continue studying, and it helps them in the rest of their studies. So it's not just about those like me who can continue to a professional arts career, but it's helpful in so many other ways, and it's something we need very strongly in the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Vice Chair, if we could have the...
Joe Landon, Executive Director. Oh, sorry.
Others in support?
Joe Landon, Executive Director of the California Alliance for Arts Education, the proud sponsors of this bill. I want to thank Senator Allen and all of you for sticking with us on this issue. Thank you.
Derek Lennox on behalf of San Francisco Unified School District in support.
Kathy Lynch, California Alliance for Arts Education and California Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, Dance. Thank you, Senator Allen, for your leadership on this and the entire committee for your support of the arts.
Good afternoon, Pamela Gibbs, representing the Los Angeles County Office of Education. We delivered our letter today. Thank you, Senator, for the bill. We're in support.
Good morning, I'm Lynn Fawkes. I represent the California Music Educators Association. I want to thank the chair for making the clarification on the record this morning, and we're sorry that you all received a false letter. Apparently our name was used without authorization, and the company whose logo was used was also used without authorization. So you were in receipt of a letter that said we supported the bill. We are working with the senator and the sponsor to make some improvements to the bill to clarify the role of the teaching artists and to make sure that they don't supplant the credentialed teachers. I'm confident we're going to get there on that. We urge the committee to move the bill out so that we can continue our work. Thank you.
Good morning, Ron Rapp on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers. We don't have a formal position, but I'm going to recommend his support, and we'll continue to work with the author and his office related to some of the current concerns that my colleague just mentioned, and we've shared those concerns. But thank you for your leadership on arts and education, Senator.
Any people in opposition? Seeing none, I'll open up to the committee. Dr. Pan.
Thank you, and thank you, Senator Allen, for bringing this bill forward. I did have a question about the bill. Yeah. In terms of, because I understand this is essentially a grant, so it's one-time funding. Yeah. And we do have LCFF. I guess the one question is that is one of the criteria for the bill, for the grant, going to be that they should have some sustainability plan? Because, this is essentially a one-time pot of money, right? So hopefully it's using something to kickstart something, but you want to know that's sustained. That's not just going to be a 1 year, or maybe you split the money over 2 years, 2-year program, and then it starts and it stops, or it's planted by, because otherwise we're not pushing any new programs. So is there some thought about requiring some, commitment, sustainability commitment beyond the period of the grant? They can do it through their LCFF or some other mechanism beyond the time period of what will probably be a very limited time grant, at least at this point, unless we are able to get, more money in subsequent years. But then you want to get in more schools, hopefully. So
we specifically highlight support for school districts under this program that articulate a plan for the sustained provision of visual and performing arts education. With that exactly.
One of the criteria for getting
because that's that you're absolutely right. There's no question. Ultimately, this is about creating models that will both be sustainable within the context of these local school districts, but then we're really looking to help scale models that can be effective across the board.
That's I appreciate that because I think we want to have sustainable change, not just one time. So,
yep.
Well, and with that, I'd be happy to move the bill at the appropriate time.
Okay, bill has been moved. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none. Senator, if you'd like to close.
I appreciate the wonderful testimony, and particularly our future Grammy Award winner here in spoken word, and respectfully ask for any vote.
Call the roll.
Item 1, SB 933. The motion is due pass as amended to appropriations. Allen?
Aye.
Allen, aye. Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Galgiani? Leyva? Leyva, aye.